Stress fractures. They suck, they do happen. They are a symptom of overtraining, and in particular a real spike of volume where you're going from a relatively low base up into a high. They tend to manifest themselves about 3 to 4 weeks after the spike occurs, and then the job is to basically rest that bone, so put it in a boot if it's a metatarsal like Chloe here's had. Rest it, allow the bone time to reform, sort itself out, get stronger, mineralise and be a happy, strong bone, and then gradually re-strengthen the muscles that support that bone so the athlete can return to play full load eventually without any drama. This is a graph I've drawn a lot, and it's the recipe for a stress fracture, but also the recipe for a smart return to play where you just do it once. The record I've seen is someone who had the same stress fracture in the same spot 4 years running, because every time they would come back too early, and that's why we're bringing Chloe in here, because we want her to learn from other people's mistakes. So the deal is, if we've got training load, typically training load's pretty high, and then Christmas intervenes, and the load goes right down because you have a little bit of a break, and then the return to play is straight back up for an Oz camp. Yep. Which is actually probably a bit high. Yep. And then there was Oz camp, and then straight back to WBL.
Yep.
And then
Nationals.
And then then Nationals, which probably got up here again. And then on the what day of Nationals? How deep in were you?
On the 20th. So right at the end of it.
Right at the business end. Yep. But you know, that's just what happens. So we've had the injury here, and it's been diagnosed by MRI. We now put Chloe, or medical staff put Chloe into a moon boot, and then that bone has 0 load. So it's like that for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I have to start anew. Part 2. We're in the boot, so the load is 0 load. The problem here is that the bone is re-strengthening, but every day that you're in the boot, every intrinsic muscle of the foot is shrinking and atrophying. You're getting all the muscles just completely deactivated and actually getting smaller. So the issue is, if we were to just return Chloe back up to the normal volume, you'd now be returning to play with a strong bone, but muscles that were probably 3 times as weak as they were the first time you injured yourself.
Oh yeah, I lost my calf.
You lose your calf, you lose your foot. So the trick is here to first have a phase of non-impact load, so where we're just applying some stress to the muscles to rebuild them.
Yeah.
And so I'd characterise that as just that. So there's just that gradual increase of calf raises, foot strengthening, squats, just getting the whole kinetic chain involved again. Because your hips got a bit funny as well, didn't they, when you were...
Yeah, this one...
Walking in a boot, the hips don't like it. Yeah.
No.
And then the trick is to start to feed in that eccentric load. So that impact load of sport, the ground reaction forces. And to do that relatively smoothly, and just kind of curl it back up very slowly to the previous volume.
Back to
Yeah, any sharp upticks and you're asking for trouble because you're exceeding the capacity of the muscles to support the bone. So that's the trick with a good rehab. It takes a little bit of patience, it's worth it in the long run, and you get a good result, and then never have to, you can throw the boot away rather than having to keep it in your back pocket. Cool.
I like the sound of throwing the boot away.
So it's not the science that blows Chloe away. it's not my explanation, it's we have a whiteboard that moves. Yeah? Yeah. Does that make sense to you, how we've got to be super cautious about dialing it back up smoothly, not just going...
not because then that'll...
Because you got to here, and then in 4 weeks' time...
It'll be
back in the boot.
Yep.
Yeah.
So where am I at on this thing?
Well, I think you are just here.
Just there?
Like you've just started doing impact load, controlled impact load. But my concern is that we want more time before you just kind of turn that corner here.
Yep, so the game Thursday...
Yeah, the game Thursday, to do the game, the intensity of a game, when all you've done is a little bit of 3-on-3, half court and a little bit of warm-up, would be to do that.
Okay, so that's a no-go.
That's a no-go. We've just got to give it a little more, you've just got to get a little more under your belt and under the muscles belt so they can support the bone.
Okay.
Yeah?
Cool. Sounds good.